Good morning, good morning. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Dr. James Gilmore, and you are listening to What's Going On, where we talk about what's going on in our community, across the city, the state, the nation, and the world. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. This morning and in future shows this summer, we will be highlighting various careers and occupations. We will be talking about how to get into certain jobs, how to apply for certain jobs, how to pursue certain fields of work. Why? Because it's very important to me as well as to others that are in my circle and my board members at the Institute for Human Development that we work to educate people about opportunities to enhance their lives and their careers through employment. And so today begins a first show of many about various fields of interest to the public. I am hoping that those who are interested in the field of pharmacy are listening. I'm hoping that those who have children that are interested in the field of pharmacy are listening. So please share this show because we're going to be learning a lot about the pharmaceutical industry this morning. Today I have with me the family of, and I'll call it that, the family of Parker's Pharmacy. Good morning, good morning.
Morning.
Morning. Morning.
Thank you all for attending, for coming on. Again, this first show in a series of shows about various careers and opportunities to educate the public, to educate parents, and to educate those who are just interested in maybe pursuing various industries. Today we're going to talk about the pharmaceutical industry. We're going to talk about your company. I want to hear a little bit about your educational background, as well as the challenges to getting into the field of pharmacy and pharmacy tech and managing a pharmacy. So I'd like to start off by you all introducing yourselves, who you are, where you're from, who your mama them, and we'll start, of course, with the young lady.
Hi, my name is L'Oreal Lagarde. I am from Marion, Louisiana.
Okay, Marion. Shout out to Marion.
Small town, but yes, thank you. I've been in the pharmacy since 2008, starting off as a cashier, working my way up to getting certified as a tech. I got certified in 2012. I've been certified since then, state and nationwide as well. Also, I've been working with various pharmacies. I did independent, I did chain, and also special chain pharmacies, and also specialty as well. Been doing that, and with each job, just growing my career with it and things.
Well, you've said a lot of things that have interested me. If you don't mind, gentlemen, I want to expand on what she's just said. First of all, you said national certification as well as state.
Yes, sir.
So I didn't know. You have to pass two tests? Tell us about that. What does that mean?
So when I took the test back in 2012, it was like a 2-in-1. So you can get state certified and you can get your national license as well.
As a pharmacy tech?
Yes, sir, as a pharmacy tech. And also with that, we can just, throughout the years, you have to do like continuing education just to keep your certification with it. So every 2 years with the nation for your national license, and every year with the state as well.
Okay, wow. Okay, so I've learned something already about the way that pharmacy techs are certified in this state.
Yes.
And you became nationally certified so that you can, if you ever decide to leave the state, you'll be able to get jobs wherever you go.
Correct. And then I'll just have to take the state part once I get to whatever state that I need to get certified in that state, to have the laws and make sure I know those as well too.
Okay, wow. So for those of you all that are like me that are afraid of tests, how did you prepare for
pretty
all
much
this
stuttering,
testing?
Studying things, just formulations of how do you calculate day supplies and the laws. They give books, and they have books that you can buy online, and also if you're doing school, the school do provide you with those things to prepare you for the test.
Okay, I got so many more questions. I'm going to go and let Jerry introduce himself because, again, I'm learning already about how to become a pharmacy tech.
Yes, sir.
It's good information.
Thank
Jerry.
you.
I'm Dr. Jerry Cox, the second from Hammond, Louisiana.
Okay.
I am been a pharmacist for about 4 years now. Graduated in 2019. I attended the University of Louisiana at Monroe, ULM, for undergrad, and I was fortunate enough to.
And what year did you finish?
That was in 2014.
Okay.
December of 14. And then I was able to get into what a lot of pharmacy schools are turning into now, or there's more now than back when I was applying. So there was an accelerated program. So most pharmacy schools are typically around 4 years. A lot of them are newer ones are popping up where they offer a year-round, kind of like an accelerated program. So luckily for me, I was able to be a part of something like that, where I was able to attend pharmacy school for 3 years. And really good for me was that put me graduating before the pandemic, right before the pandemic. So that I was allowed to kind of miss a lot of the red tape that came along with during that pandemic year. So after pharmacy school, I returned home, worked at a independent pharmacy in Hammond for about a year and some change, and was also working at Parker's part-time during the week. And then about last year, I was offered the full-time position to come on at Parker's, and it was just an opportunity that I couldn't let go. As much as I loved being at home, this company was going somewhere, so I definitely wanted to be a part of that.
Excellent. And what I like that I'm hearing, and what we often talk about in the field of workforce development is what I do mostly in my career, is ensuring that people have a career pathway. Because what we find is that folks reach a point in their careers where they can't get a promotion because there's no opportunity based on their organization being so flat. There are various opportunities to move around within the company or within the industry. But what I'm hearing is that you can go from a cashier at a pharmacy to a pharmacy tech. And what you're saying is that you can, go and get your education and your degree, Dr. Jerry, in pharmacy, but there's various tracks you can take also, from independent pharmacy to the main chains, et cetera, et cetera. So there's opportunity always to move around and grow in this area. It's according to where you want to start from.
Definitely.
Okay. And let's talk to the owner of Parker's Pharmacy, Dr. Orlando Palmer. Please introduce yourself to the public.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Orlando Palmer, born and raised here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Like Dr. Gilmore just said, I am the founder and owner of Parker's Pharmacy here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I have been a pharmacist for 20 years now.
Wow, Orlando, you're old.
I am.
20 years?
20 years.
Oh, wow.
A wealth of, like you just touched on, that was one of the first things that attracted me to the pharmacy industry. It's a diverse pathway that you can take. So just because you start in this area, and I'll give some examples in a minute, you always have that ability to study, learn, and transfer to a new area of pharmacy. For example, we all know retail pharmacy. Your big box retailers, your Walgreens, your CVS, your Walmarts. L'Oreal touched on the independents like Parker's Pharmacy and the Lanyard pharmacies of the world. Before I opened the pharmacy, I managed a nuclear pharmacy.
I remember that.
Yes, yes. So literally straight lab work, and we deliver medications to the hospitals and the clinics. You can go academia. You can teach. You can work for pharmaceutical companies. You can work for long-term care pharmacies who service the assisted living facilities, the hospices, the group homes. It's so much that you can do once you're in the space. So whether you're a technician or a pharmacist, you have different avenues that you can pursue. Excellent,
excellent. So tell me, over the past 20 years, Dr. Palmer, what made you decide to open up an independent pharmacy, your own pharmacy?
Yes, so I always had an entrepreneurial spirit. It was just timing, and I tell people, especially the younger generation, it's not an instant gratification type world. You have to kind of plan for things. You have to gain experience. So I knew it was something that I was all going to eventually come back to. It was just a perfect situation where I decided to come home. Myself and my brother Kyle, we decided to come home and open up the pharmacy. But it's one of the things that I could not open up the pharmacy if I didn't gain that requisite experience, that management experience, that leadership experience, knowing the ins and outs. Also, when you go into entrepreneurship, and you can attest, hey, that resume has to be on point.
It does. Because people have to have confidence in you, your customers or your clients
Absolutely,
have competency.
absolutely. No bank or no one's going to give you any money to open up any business if you're not competent in showing that you're ready.
Yep.
And that also includes personal credit scores.
Yep. And that also includes the fact to know that it may take 18 to 20 years to do that.
Correct.
You know, I know folks who want to open up a business a year out of college, you know, maybe you should go work for 10 or 15 years and gain some experience to build that resume and then open the business.
Right. Any area of entrepreneurship, that's nothing that you want to learn on the fly.
Right.
You're setting yourself up for failure if you're not properly planned and ready.
So let's go back to this whole, I was a cashier at the pharmacy.
Yes.
And now I'm a pharmacy tech, as well as you have a title at Parker's Pharmacy, right?
Correct.
What's that title?
So I am now currently the pharmacy manager.
Pharmacy manager.
Yes, sir.
Y'all, this young lady, this sister went from a cashier at a pharmacy to now she is nationally certified as a pharmacy tech, and she is also the manager.
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. And what does that role as a manager entail?
Pretty much, excuse me, pretty much overseeing the flow of the work, making sure everything is getting done properly from other employees that's in the pharmacy as well, to making sure our customers are getting the best service that they need, so that way we can fulfill everything they need as for prescription-wise, if they need anything over the counter, or just needing to have a conversation, because a lot of people will call just to talk, you know, but we appreciate that because they know that we are there. So someone is always going to be there to answer the phone, to answer those questions, whether if it's not coming from the doctor's office, but somebody that's in that field to help them with it as well.
And where'd you go to pharmacy tech school?
So this is the interesting thing. I actually did not go to pharmacy tech school.
Okay.
Before everybody had to go to school, I was actually grandfathered in by another independent pharmacy.
Okay.
So
at one time, the rules were not as strict.
Yes.
About educational requirements.
Correct. With that, all that would incline of me just getting my hours working
Yeah,
there.
your years of experience will qualified you. Okay.
Yes. So I was able to be grandfathered in with that, getting my hours of getting my experience of working as a pharmacy tech, studying as well too, and then I was able to.
You still had to pass the test, right?
I did.
Okay, well.
On first try too, so I was very proud of myself.
And that shows you what you were saying, Dr. Palmer, is that that work experience and knowledge is very valuable, especially when it's time to go into the classroom or pass any of the certifications or licenses. So do you know the pharmacy tech requirements now and where folks should go to get a pharmacy tech certification?
Yeah, I'll touch up a little.
Yeah, tell
on
us
that.
about that. Because you have to hire these individuals, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So we've been blessed to partner since we've been open at Parker's Pharmacy with some very great institutions. So over the years, we've partnered with Virginia College, we've partnered with Unitech, we've partnered with Fortis, we've partnered with Baton Rouge Community College with their pharmacy tech programs, where that partnership consisted of they learn their didactic part at the institution. However,
Go back now. Didactic?
Yes.
Take a solo. Explain that, please, sir.
So the two parts to become licensed as a certified pharmacy technician in the state of Louisiana, you need the book side of things, and then you need the experience in actual pharmacy.
Gotcha.
X amount of hours, 200 to 300.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I'll take it back. 200 to 600 hours in a pharmacy worked in addition to the educational piece. Put those two together. Now you're able to sit for your test, pass the exam, then you are granted your pharmacy technician license.
Okay. And those institutions you just mentioned are places where folks around this area can go.
Correct.
To get that. Now, tell us about becoming a pharmacist. I think you forgot to mention where you attended college.
Oh, I did. So, born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, attended Scotlandville Magnet High School. After Scotlandville, I went straight to Xavier University of Louisiana, College of Pharmacy. I did my undergraduate at Xavier University and finished the Doctor of Pharmacy program there also.
Okay, so Xavier offers both.
Correct.
Okay, excellent.
After graduation, my career consists of I worked for Walgreens, I worked for CVS, I've worked for Siemens, molecular manufacturer, I worked for Independent. So there you can see that diverse, that diverse field before opening Parker's Pharmacy.
Tell us what prepared you, or what do you recommend prepares? Let's say there's a student right now listening at Scotlandville or Glen Oaks or Terra, Broadmoor. what are some things you would recommend they do now in high school in order to prepare them to be to major in pharmacy in college? And then also tell us about those who are in college right now. What must they do to survive and be successful in a program such as Xavier?
Yes, so I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say that the doctor of pharmacy program at any institution is not challenging, because it is. However, it's something that everyone can do and accomplish and achieve. It is a strong science and math-based foundation. You name the science: chemistry, biology, anatomy and physiology, medicinal chemistry, calculus, quantitative analysis, physics. You name those science-based courses, and they were prerequisites or requisite courses in undergraduate
So parents
and pharmacy.
Parents, make sure your kids do good in their STEM classes.
Yes.
If they want to major in pharmacy.
Right. So having that STEM background in the medical field is extremely important. That's a jump start. So whether it's in high school or the STEM programs that we started, like I'm seeing them as early as 8 years now, those STEM programs, those are a great start for those kids to get a jump start, no matter what field they go in, but it's a great foundation.
Good. And Dr. Jerry, what do you credit to your success in matriculating through college? Because as I was looking at the data, especially as it relates to African Americans, I've seen data in between 5.9 and on the high end 7%. That's the only, that's the percentage of African Americans who have pharmacy degrees. We're talking about 7%. Around 60% of white Americans who have pharmaceutical degrees. What do you credit as your success as being a part of that 7% in America of black people that are in pharmacy?
Of course, just coming from a hardworking family. I always tell the story. Back in 10th grade, we had to, in one of my classes, we kind of had to pick a career, kind of as like a project almost.
This is also important. You made that choice in 10th grade, or you explored that opportunity
yes, exactly.
in 10th grade.
And I also, want to get back on kind of the subject that you had asked Orlando here, when it comes to what high school students can do now. I know back when I was in school, granted, it was a little while ago, but I know towards my senior year, what I would do if I could go back and redo it is I would take my test to become a technician.
Yeah, that career progression.
Exactly. I would take my test to become a technician.
Your senior year of high school.
Right.
Hey, East Baton Rouge Parish, teachers, parents, principals, let's get your high school senior certified in pharmacy tech in high school.
And a couple of weeks ago, I was actually at an event where there was a representative from Texas who represents Texas, Arkansas, New Mexico, and she was telling me how they have implemented these programs within their schools that allowed them to get their hours, their educational hours, and then they find different opportunities for them to get their experience. But it's all done through the school, through, as their seniors. Now this is twofold because not only does it set them up educationally, but it also gives them a job right out of school. Way to make
income.
Yes.
And help to pay for. We're going to talk about the cost of pharmacy school next.
Exactly. And I remember just being in college, kind of, the same old thing as every other college kid, just kind of struggling to make it, just trying to get by. And I just think, like, man, if I would have got my technician license back then, I could have been working maybe 20 hours a week, making enough money to where I can be okay in college and have more, afford myself more time to study. But that's always one thing. That's a piece of advice that I would always give back to everybody.
And it would have built your resume so that when you graduated, when you interview with the CVSs or the Parker's Pharmacies of the world, you would have been even more competitive.
And it would make pharmacy school a whole lot easier.
Oh, I never thought about that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
By having that knowledge already, that experience, just being familiar with drugs, drug classes, just being able to be in a pharmacy, just kind of understanding how things operate, it would definitely make pharmacy school a whole lot easier. Because that's another story I tell as far as my intro to pharmacy school, not having that background, just going through the classes and the prerequisites. It was kind of different, having, because a lot of that stuff is all within the walls. Like pharmacy generally isn't outside of pharmacy. So to hear these words and these terms being used for the first time, it's like you said, it's definitely not
Learning
easy.
curve. Well, and that's why we're here, because especially among minorities, when you think about the 5 to 7% of minorities who are pharmacists in this country, many of us don't have parents who are pharmacists or who were pharmacists to be able to expose us to this industry, to the terms, to how the field works. And so we don't learn until we get to college, really. And so I really like the advice that Dr. Jerry has given, is that, if you're interested in the field of pharmacy, or if your child appears as if they may be interested in the field of pharmacy, look at the opportunity to become a certified pharmacy tech while in high school at a young age. And it could not only give them financial support while in college, but it gives them the experience to better prepare them for pharmacy school.
To piggyback off of that, and not just pharmacy school, let me give you some real life examples. We currently have 2 pharmacy technicians within Parker's Pharmacy. One of our technicians just started nursing school.
Oh, yeah, wow.
So look at the foundation. What do you think she made in that pharmacology class?
Absolutely.
She made an A because she was already introduced and already knew her drug classes and everything like that. So that was so easy for her, where her classmates struggled with that being introduced for the first time. So even with nursing.
And because most of my friends who take a career pathway in nursing, other than just the traditional majoring in it in college, they become CNAs or LPNs first. But I never thought about the fact that you can be a pharmacy tech, and get some exposure to drugs and things like that from an academic perspective to better prepare you for nursing school as well.
Right.
So that's a great career pathway to think about also. Women make up 55% of the pharmaceutical industry as it relates to pharmacists. What are your thoughts about one day becoming a pharmacist?
I actually had that in mind.
Okay.
Unfortunately, life happened, so that way it wasn't something that wasn't able to be done now. I have thought about it. Like I said, I did start off as a cashier in high school, actually, too.
And what are your thoughts about other women, especially black women?
It's great. I mean, it's great. It's pharmacy always been a man, as a pharmacist. Everybody's expected to be a man. So it's really great to see young women learning something new and also demanding, their position and showing what they can do as well, too. It's really nice to see as well.
So, very good. Thank you for sharing that with me, because we do want to highlight it's very important. We have 2 brothers here that are doctors of pharmacy, but, we want to encourage our young women also that this is a field they should surely consider. Now, what's interesting in some research that I did was talks about some of the challenges of working in your field of work. And it actually talked about working conditions, pretty high stress environment, it indicated in some of the research that I've done. It even talks about wages. Tell us about, the work environment in a pharmacy. Is it high stress? Is it,
Very high stress. And that's one of the things that we have been intentional with our quality of life at Parker's Pharmacy, because it is a very high stress position. And usually when you talk about those big box retailers that have stockholders that they have to answer to, if they're not making as much money, the first thing they're going to do is cut hours or cut jobs.
So that's what they meant by the challenges with wages.
So you come to work and it might just be a pharmacist and a technician doing all this work, filling all these prescriptions, having to do all these immunization and COVID vaccines and everything else. It's actually unrealistic expectations, and the job satisfaction and the job stress level is so high because every day you're going into that stressful environment day in, day out. So it takes a toll on that aspect of life.
And how are you all at Parker's Pharmacy trying to create a better work-life balance for those who want to work in this industry?
Absolutely. So again, I gained that experience through that. I know what those guys do well. I know what they do poorly. So when you look at independence, quality of life is important. We're closed on Sundays. We're closed on all holidays.
Very good.
On Saturdays, the store is only open from 9 to 1. We close Monday through Friday at 6 p.m.
Fantastic.
So you're not working to 9 or 10 p.m. closing the store at those other pharmacies and whatnot. So the quality of life is higher. It allows you to have more family time. Life happens, so you're able to take care of family members in life while it's happening. So that's one of the main things that we focus on, quality of life. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be busy. We just coming through COVID and a global pandemic, cold and flu season. It's always, people are always going to be sick. So it's always going to be a busy environment. However, here at Parker's Pharmacy and Independence, we have a customer service based policy where we're staffed more so that the patient can have a great customer experience.
Gotcha.
The work is going to get done. However, we're not going to have two people to man the whole entire pharmacy where service drops off and it's just like every other service industry.
Right.
Poor service.
And oftentimes big box industries, again, they're governed by corporate and investor demands, which now I have a better understanding, because I've been in your pharmacy dozens of times and I don't see folks looking like they stressed and tired. So when I read about, the level that stress was one of the biggest challenges of those who work in the industry, I said, well, everybody's smiling at Parker's Pharmacy. What's the difference? But again, being an independent pharmacy, you're allowed to ensure that there is a better quality of life balance.
Correct. That's just our culture. That's our culture here at Parker's Pharmacy that we're trying to instill. Life is life. It's going to continue to hit us in the face sometime. However, when you walk into work, that's something that we don't have. So it's like we're always going to go above and beyond. We always work together as a team. It's a family type environment. So that's the difference that we have versus your other Fortune 500 chains.
Okay.
And by being, independent, you have the autonomy to make the necessary changes when you need to. So, like an example is during COVID, there were some of the big box retailers were they send out quotas like, hey, we need you to have 100 COVID vaccines by Thursday.
Gotcha.
And like you said, you walk in, but it's just one pharmacist and one technician.
Right.
And they send out the same email whether you service 300 people a day or 900 people a day. But you're only going to get one pharmacist and one technician.
One technician.
So, being independent, we kind of have the autonomy to kind of like, okay, we can shift our workflow based on our customers' needs. And that, I think that is what also helps alleviate a lot of stress, is because we aren't necessarily requiring one person to take on such strenuous tasks. We do attack everything as a team. And also, we are also all aware of like how our workflow goes. So I think that's another thing that, for me, I've only got the experience as working as in two independent pharmacies. And that's what I've seen the most, is just having that freedom to be able to make your own decisions. And like you said, not being held to the stockholders' demands. So I think we do a great job of that.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, y'all always smiling when I come in there. So one topic we have to talk about, because again, this is when you talk about, careers and industries, you got to talk about the money.
Right.
What does an entry-level pharmacy tech make? And what does an entry-level pharmacist make?
Good question.
Around average. I know what the data says
average,
here, but sometimes the data is according to what region you are in the country.
It is. And even state specific and even region specific in the state. Like there's some areas in Louisiana, Baton Rouge is on the lower end of the spectrum. However, you go to Shreveport, Bossier City, and Alexandria, no one apparently wants to live there, so they're paying more in those areas.
So let's pause on that. That's very important that we talk about that, especially for those who, again, parents that are listening, those who are in college right now, considering where to go. I know when I finished my master's, I got a few job offers in major cities, and I ended up going to Greenville, Mississippi. And everybody was like, you go pass up Atlanta and Katy, Texas, and all these other places. And I said, they paying more in Greenville because nobody wanted to go to Greenville, Mississippi. Okay, so I stayed in Greenville, Mississippi, and loved it, by the way, for a couple of years. So do understand that in medicine, we have a lot of health disparities, and many of our rural communities they lack, medical professionals, doctors and pharmacists. So it may be a good thing to explore some of those areas where there is a need because you just may get paid more.
Definitely. I can speak for myself. One of my first job offers out of school was to go to central, not central, but like central Louisiana, central within the state. And they were offering, a competitive salary. But they wanted me to move out there, and I just wasn't in the position to do so at the time. And what I like to tell people is, especially, people coming out of college, people coming out of pharmacy school, it's going to be more money than you've ever made before. So the idea of chasing a number, I think, can lead people down a wrong path sometimes. Because a lot of it is demand-based, right? But also what comes of that is cost of living, right? So you can say, okay, I'm going to get paid X if I go to Atlanta, but you're also going to have to pay X more to live in Atlanta.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, I'm going to go to California.
Because my rent was cheap in Greenville, Mississippi.
Exactly. But I was like, okay, I'm going to go to California.
I was balling in Greenville. Okay?
Exactly. And because I remember, coming out of school, and one of the cool things about my class is we were very diverse. We were different ages, different backgrounds, and really from all over the country. So as we began to get closer towards graduation, a lot of people started to, they started referring to what they would get paid back in their home state. And I guess you can see other people's ears perk up and, I had some people from California, had some people from Texas, and they would hear these numbers. I'm like, well, guys, like something comes along with that number as well. So I tell young people now who's about to graduate, don't chase the number, chase your life. Like, is getting paid the extra worth how your daily life will look? Like, if you're gonna come home every day drained, if you're gonna come home every day tired, upset, angry, just thinking, oh wait, did I mess up today? Oh, we were so busy, the phone kept ringing. The money isn't necessarily worth the extraness. So it's gonna be more than you've made in college.
Gotcha.
And just think about, what do you want your quality of life to be like? And just understand that you're going to be comfortable, but your sanity isn't worth the couple extra dollars.
Gotcha.
I'll give some two things. I'll give some real life numbers, and I'll give a true story. I got a postcard in the mail last week from one of those chains. Because they have access to that mailing list of all pharmacists. So they mail this out trying to hire pharmacists. And again, they're offering $40,000 sign-on bonus.
Wow.
Relocation. But I don't want to live in Jena, Louisiana. I don't want to live in Marksville. I don't want to live in Alexandria. I don't want to live in Bossier. So, however, that opportunity is available, and I'm pretty sure it takes a 2-year commitment, or you probably have to repay all the money back. But, however, that's a great start, too, if you're able to relocate to those rural, remote areas, gain some experience, being able to pay down some debt, stack some money, and then move back to your preferred location. But that's always an avenue open if you're flexible enough to relocate, like we just mentioned, in those areas.
And as an HR recruiter for a number of years in the private sector, oftentimes it's hard to recruit to those areas. But again, we pile on the incentives, and for those who want to go, it could definitely be worth it. A $40,000 sign-on bonus does very well. Now after about 2 years of Greenville, I was ready to get back home, and so the first position open in New Orleans, I said, I'm ready to roll, okay? And but I also tell people that the 2 years I spent in Greenville, Mississippi at that plant managing human resources, it gave me the wealth of knowledge and experience I needed that allowed me to do human resources in no matter what setting I was in. And so, and returning back to New Orleans was just a great thing to be able to be closer to home. So going back to pharmacy tech, how much they make on entry level?
Entry level, I think they start off at $11.
Not bad.
Or due to experience. It just depends on if your experience in the pharmacy tech world, how many years you had behind your belt and things like that. But starting off, I want to say it's $11. However, with COVID and the pandemic, actually they've been starting
People at higher
higher
wages.
rates, like $14, $15 an hour.
Okay.
Granted, that wasn't the deal when I was starting off.
Yeah.
However, but like I said, with COVID and things, so
Young people, especially as Dr. Jerry mentioned, if you're in high school and you're a certified pharmacy tech, that's good extra money while you're in college.
correct.
Yeah. And you're preparing yourself for a wider career path.
Yes.
So, in closing, I'd like for you all to just talk to the people who are listening, and my listening audience are mostly minorities, adults, but adults who have children. What would you tell them in closing, regardless of whatever they have going on in life right now, any challenges, how would you let them know that they could one day be like you? That they could one day be a pharmacist, that they could one day own a pharmacy, that they could one day be a pharmacy tech. Because again, the purpose of this show and the next series of shows that we'll be having is to really touch the audiences, to help people understand that there are various careers out there, and no one should feel as if they're lost. They should, BRCC, Southern University, LSU are right here in our backyards. So we all have an opportunity to access education, whatever the education may be it pharmacy or whatever. And I want these next series of shows to really let folks know to go out and gain education, set some goals, and set some career goals. And so what would you say, especially to those young minorities that are out there right now trying to be like you? And we'll start with, and we'll end with you, Dr. O. We'll start with the young lady.
So I would say go for it, honestly and truly, just to better yourself. I've learned throughout the years, with change comes growth and uncomfortableness as well too. And with that, it's about willing to do so. Put in the work. You can do it and you can achieve it. As a mother,
Put in the work.
Yes, as a mother and a wife as well. These can be challenging. Unfortunately, some things in life can deter you from that. Just stay focused.
From cashier to pharmacy tech to manager.
Yes, sir.
So proud of you, L'Oreal.
Thank you. Thank you.
Brother Jerry, what do you have to say to those young brothers out there right now, again, at Scotlandville, Broadmoor, Terra, Glen Oaks, or maybe they're on Southern's campus right now, majoring in biology, but, really not sure what they want to do. But they, what advice do you give them so that one day they know that they can actually be Dr. Jerry?
Small pieces make big pieces. And what I mean is we've kind of directed ourselves as a society to kind of think that things come instant, like large things come right now. And that's just not the case.
That's not the case.
And I think we have to get
large things don't come right now.
No,
and I like you saying large, no matter what it is. Whatever you're thinking that's big is not just coming right now.
It's just not gonna happen that quickly. Compound, right? Like we talked about just in the things that we laid out, like just getting that pharmacy technician license, and then you compound that with, our example with the young lady who didn't divert it and went to nursing school. By having that knowledge right here, she was able to compound that into nursing school and then make the transition to nursing school even easier.
Right.
So it's just like small changes make big changes. So don't think or don't get discouraged if you find out that, oh, well, I'm only going to be making $11 doing this. Well, that's right now.
Right. You could be making six figures as a pharmacist in 6 years from now.
In 8 years from now.
8 years from now.
So it's like I would just tell them, like, hey, just think of the larger picture. Think about growth. And just small changes make big changes. Like, just don't focus on trying to get so much right now. Time is going to pass regardless.
Yes.
It's going to be 8 years from now.
Yes.
8 years from now, no matter what you do with your life.
Right.
And so you can either choose to learn, educate yourself, or you can just sit around and keep complaining why you ain't did it yet. So,
Right.
My big thing is definitely just, hey, make those small changes and prepare.
Was there a time where you ever thought you couldn't make it, or you wanted to give up?
If I could be honest with you, no.
You always had that self-determination.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely times in life and in college where I was on the bottom. And well, you know what? I take that back. There was one time, and me and a classmate of mine, she was actually trying to become a dentist, and she was kind of having the same trials and tribulations that I was. We just felt as if we weren't where we should have been compared to other people in our class. You know, other people had started applying and going to school, and we were still, you know, in undergrad, and we kind of just looked at each other like, man, we gotta make some changes. And she was a year older than me, and she kind of told me about different programs that were available and different schools that were starting. And I guess that's another thing too, is do your research. Do your research.
And this generation has Google. We didn't have Google.
Do your research.
You know,
We had encyclopedias.
yeah,
you had to go find it.
Or we had to just hopefully you had someone in your network that could tell you
about it.
how to be a pharmacist or how to, you know what I mean?
She started telling me about, you know, this program that she was going to attend over the summer and how it was going to help her, or what, you know, what her idea was, how it was going to help her. And then, you know, that got me to kind of looking like, okay, well, maybe there's other opportunities outside of the ones that I'm familiar with. Let me start exploring those. Let me start researching those. And I think that's when, once I realized that there was other opportunities outside of the ones that I knew, I think at that point it was no stopping. Because I knew that I could find something.
So what you're saying
somewhere.
to me is that even when you were at that point that you felt as if you were at the bottom,
yeah.
you quickly though, okay, you didn't wallow in pity and wanting to give up. You said I need to do some research and take some action for a change.
And now, like I said, there are so many pharmacy schools popping up out there, you know, with different requirements, you know, different GPA requirements. You know, a lot of schools are getting rid of the entry exam to get into pharmacy school.
So there's an entry exam as well? Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's just, do your research and the opportunities are out there.
What is that entry exam called? It's not the GMAT.
I'm not sure.
But it's sort of like the GMAT or the LSAT. It's an entry level.
PCAT.
PCAT.
It was the PCAT.
Okay. Gotcha. So you got to pass the PCAT to get into pharmacy school.
But there are schools that don't require it.
Gotcha. So do your research.
Yes, there's options. There's always a path. There's a
Gotcha.
path.
And the brother with 20 years of experience, what you got to say to folks out there listening again that are probably where you were, you know what I mean, 20 plus years ago, trying to figure out this pathway and may want to give up again, especially those of us that are minorities who don't have folks in our network to tell us how to make it through. What do you have to say to them?
Yes, that's key. For our listeners listening and watching us on social media, we're living testament, Jerry, L'Oreal, myself, that it can be achieved. Well, I mean, it's nothing that we couldn't do and you couldn't do either. It's also always about setting goals. It's going to get tough. Yes, we've all had that adversity in moments where like, oh man, I don't know about this. But however, set your goals and you're going to have to commit and make a sacrifice.
Sacrifices. Anything good, you're going to have to make sacrifices.
Absolutely. If you're not going to sacrifice, it's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
At the end of the day, it won't be worth it in the end.
Yeah.
So understand.
And that might be, those sacrifices might be something financially.
Yes.
You know, I always tell folks there are a few years there that I didn't go to the Bayou Classic.
Right.
Because I was too busy studying,
Exactly.
in November.
Right.
Okay.
But it pays off in the long run. That's like Jerry just mentioned. You don't realize how those decisions that you make can compound in your life that's going to change the trajectory of your life.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing. So I just want to say before ending, as it relates to the workforce and setting goals, and if you're thinking about different career paths and everything like that, Parker's Pharmacy is a source. So if you or a loved one or a kid is interested in, feel free, pick up the phone, call us, stop in at the pharmacy at any time.
Where's the pharmacy located, by the way?
Yes, 9600 Florida Boulevard.
9600 Florida Boulevard.
Stop in anytime. We have that knowledge we're able and willing to share with anyone. If we've done it already, that information and knowledge is yours. As it relates to the workforce, and we talk about this all the time, we can teach you the pharmacy side of things. we can't make you be motivated or want something more in life or want to be ambitious. We can't bring that out to you. That's innate. You have to want that for yourself. We can teach you everything else about the job or the career. So that's really those soft skills and that ambition, that personal ambition and that personal growth. Those are the people we hire. The technicalities, and we can make you a pharmacy technician.
Right.
We can give you the necessary skills and knowledge to become a pharmacy technician or a pharmacist and that path. However, it's within the end. As long as you have it within
Right.
that growth mindset.
And so, and we're going to close on that note. Again, my producer Eugene Collins. I want to make sure that I'm on point with everything. We must realize that no matter what field you go in, is what Dr. O has just said, that it takes your own self-motivation to survive and get through it. And so today we talked about the pharmaceutical industry, and we talked about the opportunities of growing your talents to be able to enter that industry, both academically as well as be successful as a career. Again, but that innate motivation, that comes from you, from your environment at home. So parents, motivate your kids, support your kids, help your kids get through whatever they need to get through, any barriers, and kids, find mentors. Research has proven that, Parker's Pharmacy has opened their doors to parents who would like to maybe come in and have a discussion with their kids about this field of work. For adults who maybe want to come into Parker's Pharmacy and learn about how to become a pharmacy tech, they're right there on Florida Boulevard. Go by there, visit, have some discussions about the industry. But again, it takes your own motivation to get through it. You got to make the decision to study. And one thing that Dr. Jerry mentioned that I want to talk about, because I did it quite often when I was at my bottom as it relates to what you just said, Dr. Jerry, is I compared myself to others. And I said, well, why don't I have what they have? Or why am I still in school broke, but my friends are out working, doing well? And you got to be careful when you compare yourself to others, because your journey is your journey. And it may not be the same as others. In fact, it's probably not the same as others. And so that comparison can be a mind blocker.
Yes.
It can be a demotivator. Focus on your career and where you're headed, and what you have to do to reach your goals, and let others focus on theirs. You wanted to say something, Dr. Jerry?
Well, I wanted to kind of give an example of a real life situation that happened, and it's been kind of happening over the past couple months. There was a young man who came in and basically had this exact conversation. He was interested in becoming a pharmacist, and he came in. He asked, "Hey, what do I need to do? This is what I've done before." He was a respiratory therapist, and he wanted to switch careers. And he came in, and I kind of gave him some advice on the different schools that were in the area. I asked him, where did he want to live? Where did he see himself? And just recently, I just saw we just communicated, and he just told me that he's got his classes together, and he'll be looking to head into PCOM, which is a pharmacy school out in Atlanta. In the fall. So it can be done.
Gotcha.
Stop by, let us know.
So even folks who want to change careers should consider this industry.
Correct.
Okay. Well, we're ready to close the show right now. Brother Eugene, you all got me ready. I got some new Southern interns in here who will be working the technology. Thank you all for listening to What's Going On. My name is Dr. James Gilmore, and stay tuned for more shows. I know I got some engineers coming on. I got Southern Nursing School coming on. I got Vicki Wilborn coming on to talking about the nursing industry. We have some architects coming on in the near future. Also, we're going to have some employers coming on. We're going to have CATS coming on. We're going to have the Council on Aging coming on. We're going to have Brett coming on. So stay tuned for future shows as we talk about things to help people get into careers and get into jobs to be able to make a living for themselves and have a great quality of life. Again, thank you so much for tuning in to What's Going On. Thank you, Southern Coffee, for always being a great host. Everyone have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much.
Lord, I couldn't breathe.
Hey, that was dope, John.